there exists a constant battle for survival. Welcome, my friends, to Atomics on a Friday, a fascinating journey into the realm of cybersecurity, data, and atomic testing. Today, we shall embark on an adventure with two seasoned experts who have roamed the cyber wilderness for years, honing their skills and strategies. Paul Michaud, a master of cyber shenanigans, has an uncanny ability to unravel the most perplexing digital mysteries. Alongside him is Michael Haag, a cyber threat connoisseur who has devoted his life to understanding and mitigating the ever-present dangers lurking in the shadows of cyberspace. Together, they shall guide us through the complex tapestry of this digital ecosystem, revealing hidden treasures and secrets that will undoubtedly leave us with a newfound respect for the world of cybersecurity. So, dear viewers, let us dive deep into the heart of this wondrous realm, where the forces of good and evil collide in an eternal struggle, and let us explore what it truly means to protect our delicate digital existence. Join us on Atomics on a Friday. There exists a constant battle for survival.
Hey.
Whoops.
Howdy, howdy. Happy Friday.
It is Friday. Lego holiday weekend.
Yeah, it is. Is it Tuesday or Monday, the 4th?
Tuesday.
Some
of us are still working on Monday.
I believe it's already July. Tomorrow's July. Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Wait, next year's a leap year, yeah?
I don't know.
Because if it is, then that would make next year's 4th of July on a Thursday. But if it's not, it would be a Wednesday. So then do you take the beginning part of the week off or the end part? Or should we just take the whole week off?
Yeah, next year is a leap year.
So that puts it on a Thursday?
4th of July?
We should probably just still take the whole week off.
It is on a Thursday. Man.
Nailed it. All right.
That was worth it.
Lego.
Awesome.
Got a busy week this week.
Yeah, it's been wild. I think the last 2 weeks I think we've been sharing a lot of articles that have been kind of interesting. And then this week, pieces have been, I don't know, just things have been really kind of chiming out.
Yeah, a lot of new stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think after our getting started with the Atomic series, which was like 3 weeks long, 3 or 4 episodes, I was like, why don't we do news? Or what's new? What's new? What's happening? And that led to today. And then leads to our slides. So we'll talk about some new things, some cool stuff. We had a nice description from Attenborough to the YouTube video. So if you were reading that and or the tweet, you probably will understand what we're going to dive into today. But yeah, my name is Michael Haag. Here today is your senior threat connoisseur. I was trying to write down some of the comments from our intro, which was Paul helps with perplexing digital mysteries. And there was a piece about complex tapestry, which I thought was awesome. I don't know where these words come from, but I love them.
We can thank Jose for that one.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had a surprise today, but he's not here.
Oh yeah, I should probably introduce myself. I'm Paul.
Yep.
I am well, that's an old one. I'm no longer a handler, but a hunter.
Oh,
but we still do both.
Hunter,
yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It doesn't matter. Regardless, I'm here to unravel the mysteries of the cyber depths, or whatever David said for me. I forgot. We appreciate him calling in every Friday when we do this.
Mysteries of complexity in the tapestry.
I don't even know what that means. What is our tapestry? Is this like fabric, like we're talking cloud? And...
Did you read the YouTube description or the description for this week's?
I don't recall. I thought I did because you posted it on Twitter, yeah? Yeah.
Welcome, dear listeners, to another riveting episode of Atomics on a Friday. It's not just a podcast, but a journey, a voyage into the heart of the intriguing and ever-evolving world of cybersecurity. Anyway.
Could you imagine if we had to run this like a podcast?
Yeah. We need a real intern. I think we've talked about this.
How do we get those? Who wants to come on and learn cyber? Just make sure our slides are actually done versus 7 minutes before the show starts.
Hey, it was like done an hour ago. They were ready.
Hours generous?
Yeah. It was 30 minutes ago.
I'll give you 30.
I was still making coffee. Let's
True.
just say
and
that.
We also forgot to put our message out on Mondays. Actually, we should probably just start doing them bi-weekly, like the next day. But anyhow.
Yeah, I was going to set up a placeholder, but then I was like, if the placeholder doesn't have a description, can you put the description later? So I haven't put that. But yeah. We could try that.
I guess it's one of those chicken and egg things.
Yeah. Also,
if you're looking for an internship, hit us up. DMs are open.
Yes. Also in like weird news, you can no longer see tweets like publicly without logging in now.
Yes.
Very weird. Like, not a feature, definitely a bug.
Yeah, it's like there's some local businesses that do like Facebook business pages, and when I try and go view them because they don't have a website, I like can't see it sometimes because I don't have a Facebook account. And so now I feel like the similar vein is going to occur with Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's problematic.
One of the new things we were going to talk about today was the Azure AADInternals. And I clicked on the tweet to look at it on my VM, which is not logged in to Twitter, and I can't see it. So you get the opportunity to look at a screenshot. I took a screenshot of it. I was like, well, it works.
So I was on my computer, logged into a different computer where I couldn't view it. So I took a screenshot of that computer to put on this computer so you could view it.
Exactly. So now you get to view it. So it works. So yeah, we'll just dive in. Yeah, there is a lot of APT ahead. I actually think that was something I messaged you. APTs are APTing the other day, or something about APTs and APT. APTs are APT. Anyway,
APTs aren't real. It's kind of like birds.
Wasn't it about this blog? I thought it was about this blog.
It was either something or another one. I don't know. Was it in Slack?
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah. All right. So this was interesting. This came out on June 21st. Is it this month? Yes, this month, a couple days ago, I guess. And it was shared to me. And the first thing that caught my eye was, I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff. So I posted like this cool, like step 1 through 11 thing. But the interesting pieces that got me, and I called out to you, was this whole deal with the adversary using, why don't we just share our screen? I'll just share my screen. Like talking over this like slide, which doesn't really help anybody. Oh, I need to, are you able to share? Oh, wait, I need to share anyway. I guess I have to drop and come back because my system settings.
I can share.
Let me see. But you can't share my VM.
Well, no. Do you need your VM?
Can you? Can you share my VM?
I don't know. Is your password the same as my home lab? Because then I could just log in.
It's not really my VM.
I mean,
I'll be right back then. I'll be right back. See you in a second. Keep talking about Muddle Libra and discuss what we were discussing.
Oh, yeah. Where were we? So, yes, I thought this came out last year, but turns out it was presented or published this year from Unit 42. And the interesting component we found, which was there was a thread on Twitter from somebody else that was pointing to leveraging memory dumps for extracting potential plain text. They're using like volatility or magnet capture for acquiring memory. Turns out Muddled Libra actually leveraged this. So it was coincidental, very relevant thread that came out. I think it was literally within the same time frame, within probably a week of the two things occurring, which was very interesting. But seeing some blue team tools leveraged against blue team tools for red team opportunities.
Yeah. Were you talking about this?
Yeah, just setting up where this actually came from.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, like I said right before I had the drop, but I found it kind of like the one thing that stood out outside of like the standard, Mimikatz, proc dump, Laps toolkit is kind of cool. But yeah, then getting to this piece was like, whoa, that's actually kind of new. I had not heard of an adversary going and dumping memory, looking to, dig credentials out of a dump. Thought that was kind of neat. Maybe it happens more often than not, but that was one of the first of like, we're going to use this and grab them from here. Thought that was kind of cool.
Now, I don't recall, because I did actually fully read this and not just like specific parts. I did.
Okay.
But I don't recall some of it. Now, the question is what's the difference between using something like a proc dump to dump potentially LSAS or other similar versus utilizing like volatility or magnet RAM? I have a few theories, which could be everybody knows proc dump is leveraged for dumping something like LSAS or other interesting processes. I presume the true is just to who's actually alerting on magnet RAM or volatility being executed within the environment. More often than not, I presume that's going to be extremely low because of the legitimacy. And even though proc dump is legitimate, it's leveraged. So that's kind of like one theory I have. Again, didn't specifics. That's for people.
And kind of like the between the lines is this group tends to use multiple tools to dump and get creds, and one of them just so happened to be right here was like using magnet RAM and volatility, which I thought was like, yeah, you got your standard fare-ish. There's a couple that are interesting, but then you got like this whole different bit standing out, which, yeah, you wouldn't normally see. That would be like, that's an interesting like surveyor hunt, throw a bunch of like memory dumping type tools and go and see where they're at.
New def file coming to you soon.
Yes. The noisy thing that I thought with this particular report, which I don't know if we're going to dig into the whole report, but the noisy pieces that I thought, we do have atomic tests for like sharp pound. I actually think we have one for AD recon. But just kind of like the standard, like pull in these port scanners, IP scanner things and run those. That was kind of like, yep, get it. This hit Twitter, or was a tweet recently that was deleted by somebody. No. So yeah, I think Subt tweeted about Power CLI like 2 weeks ago, which you won't find. So I could be making it up, which is great. So, but yeah, I thought that was kind of a clever play of this group as well.
Attribution is hard.
Yeah. Yes. There was this, yeah. What's his group name?
Narwhal.
Yeah. Minton Narwhal. Yep. It's been a hot minute. But yeah, so that was kind of neat. That's something, obviously any of these kind of tools, there's all kinds of like Active Directory managing based tools and scripts and apps out there. I would just suspect, just as you're seeing like Manage Engine or Landesk or PDQ, that a lot of these, just as much as we want to use them ourselves as admins of a large environment, these can definitely be abused by adversaries. And we see it time and time again when it's cloud-based or cloud administered and whatnot, that, yeah, you need multi-factor or some set of logging and alerting occurring on these cloud things.
And cloud is difficult because it's not, which we touched on last time, which was you're beholden to whatever that provider generates for a log. So if they don't generate them, You don't have them. It's not like Windows where you can have different layers and different complexities of trying to capture activity to utilize for whatever. Cloud is whatever it gives you is what it gives you, if it does give it to you, which makes it more.
Yeah, I think even with recent, like the Papercut stuff, Papercut required you to enable debug logging in order to truly get the logs you actually need to detect, actual issues or application log type issues with the app and or anything happening, which I thought was like, it's cool, it's there, but at the same time, not going to help you when you're like in incident mode and you've already lost everything.
A good question would be, is there some public compilation of standard log locations for things like Manage Engine, Pulse VPN appliances, where those logs are stored? Because I don't think a lot of orgs are actually collecting those, or even like the Citrix logs, which are can be leveraged and collected, especially when you have to enable some of those for more of the on-prem stuff or the appliance-based things. Or even if you do get the ability to just build your own VM and then install the application. I don't think enough orgs are pulling those off, storing those somewhere.
I don't think so. Yeah. And I do know that a lot of those apps, which you probably remember from prior work too, they do have like Active Directory login ability or some kind of single sign-on or something like that, AD or LDAP query.
LDAP,
and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, you usually can kind of maybe pick up something from there. But yeah, you're right. And a lot of these things, years ago, they didn't have much logging. I'm sure Manage Engine today, after what they've gone through over the years, they probably have something to help at least the security team detect some evil. Sorry.
I mean, if you don't have logs, did the attack really happen?
No, of course not. It's not there. Never. All right, where were we? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Muddled Libra.
So
interesting highlight.
Or you read the whole thing. So tell me more.
Yeah. Common theme based on the tool usage, attack paths. I think the more interesting component out of that, again, was just the coincidental timing of talking about using things like volatility or other tools to during red team operations to dump memory as another mechanism to pull credentials.
Hang on. Did you see this? I didn't see that until just right now. Attackers also re-enabled and used existing AD accounts to avoid triggering common, SIM rules, but they also were observed operating within EDR admin consoles to clear alerts.
Yeah. All right. Look,
you got your free pen test, and they're your SOC analyst. Take that.
I'm gonna leave that there.
This is good.
I'm just going to leave that there. Okay? It's like, we can go down some massive rabbit holes with this.
This is the Casey moment. Like, where is he?
Yes.
He's going to be so excited.
I have words to say, but I can't go down this hole.
No, it's all good. This is actually, that's an interesting... yeah, this is cool. I think that is something, obviously, every org, if you have an enterprise EDR, you got to think about these kind of things. Like, what does happen when an actor gains access to a leaked API key or credentials to the EDR platform, being that a lot of them are cloud-based now. I remember years ago, we barely had decent audit logging for like Carbon Black Response. I don't know about many of the newer ones out there today, or the more popular ones out, but I would hope there's better, especially like IPs and where they came from. That would be probably where I'd start.
How many orgs with security operations teams have things where they're monitoring for logins to their own tooling? They have auditing enabled. They're checking those. They're validating. Yep, normal time, normal activity. Looking at things like the testing environments that they have spun up, access to that, right? Like, I don't think enough. I would be surprised how many have those. And I think more often or not, you have exclusions put in for whether it's a specific subnet or a specific team, just because the amount of potential false positives, you're downloading samples, you're moving them to VMs, right? Like whatever those processes are, I would, one thing thinking about like an attacker, like I would go live in wherever the security operations team lives.
Yep.
Just like I would go into developer if I'm looking for execution or trying to blend in with a lot of noise and potential activity, like I'd go for dev, right? We see this due to access, limited permission, or like more open permissions from local administrator, build process, etc.
And all the live response functions run under like a limited, use account, like they have low privileges and all that kind of stuff. So like
I feel like that single sentence there is so loud and probably overlooked that I don't even remember reading that. Like I read the thing, but I skimmed over it, right? Like it's so subtle, but it's so loud. Thinking about like, okay, am I even logging my security tools? Like where are my audit trails? How am I validating those, right? Like how do I know it's coming in?
That is quite the event, honestly. Like outside of everything else, imagine the adversary. You're like, oh, we eradicated them. Like, yeah, we got rid of their Mimikatz on disk. We re-imaged the domain controller. We did all these backups and restores, right? And then like, why are the alerts in our EDR still being cleared?
False positives.
It's not as noisy this week.
It's good to go because we cleaned everything up. So no alerts, no problems.
Yeah. Should be fine. This is fine. That's cool. I really dig this part.
I wonder if in IR, which maybe hasn't been publicly announced, but how often do you see that?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think in the past 6 months to a year in a publicly documented case where that occurred. To my knowledge and recollection, this is the first.
Yeah, I think it's been brought up, but I think I've heard red teams doing something, right? But that's it. I don't think I've heard of an adversary doing it. Uh-oh. Oh, my keyboard.
Are red teams now just going to start targeting an EDR console? I mean, they probably should, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that.
That is
something new and spicy.
Yeah, that'd be quite the hunt.
Because where are those logs? When's the last time you validated that your EDR logs and audit logs are actually working?
Yeah, does it?
Do you even know where they're stored? Think about Splunk. If you're running or any SIM, I should say, not like go target Splunk specifically, but like any SIM, like are they logged in, checking to see if their alerts fired, and are they clearing out those alerts for you? Just FP, like that was Jimmy, we're good. And just moving on.
Yes, yeah, no big deal.
Maybe go look at Splunk. It could be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
like
we just said, like any kind of cloud product, right? Because typically those logs are not backlogged or, shipped out. It's more just back end type stuff. Maybe they present it in the UI, but they're not really given to you.
Whether you can say or not, are Splunk audit logs automatically ingested into an index? Okay. Yeah. So they're there. So now who's actually actioning those?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's find out. We should start a poll on this.
We're going to find out right now. Let's go find a public Splunk server.
Anybody know of any? I can think of a few.
Probably not hard to find. Completely out of order to my browser tabs, but recently Sysmon 15 was released. And Olaf had shipped a really cool blog on the file executable detected and the PPL protection stuff that came with this. I'll add my system back, and then I will open up Sysmon. Wow, those are some news articles. So noisy. All right. So yeah, this dumped like this week, and probably the most notable is, like I mentioned, the new event code 29. file, what is it? File executable detected. It's kind of a wordy one. I updated my, apparently not on this machine, it's on another machine. I have a hunt naked config, which I updated, and the hunt naked config just collects everything, which is cool if you want to get like all the verbosity of Sysmon. And then also, I think kind of the cool thing of it all was that Olaf also shared an update, which we merged into the load drivers project. And if you go here, we also have now the new files that will generate upon build, which creates brand new Sysmon right here, hashes exe detect. So anytime a load driver is downloaded, it'll generate an event code 29, and that's all based on the hash. And those are all in there. And I think, we broke them up based on vulnerable hashes and malicious, which are the two categories right now that we have in the project. So your vulnerable one's going to be your crazy long one. And then the vulnerable or malicious one will be a little bit shorter. But you could drop those in to your config that you may already have. And then you can now do like inventory, at least based on known, and detect based on that, which is kind of cool. And then, we also have the block with Sysmon in here, file block executable. So you can actually go and use this as well to block the knowns. But that's kind of cool. That was a great ad. What else on that? Oh yeah, I do have a demo on that.
I have a new thing that just came out.
Oh,
within the past 2 hours, maybe.
I was gonna say 2 minutes.
Ali on Twitter mentioned that to avoid event 29, if you wrote, let's say, a .sys file, that it relies on the MZ headers. So if you write the file without the MZ headers, and then once it's on disk, reapply them, you'd still get event ID 11 for file write, but you would miss the hash, which Olaf did account for in, I think, something in one of his parts. He was talking about how event ID 11 does it, but it doesn't give you the hash, unlike the other one.
Nice. I apparently have downloaded this multiple times. That's cool. That's very interesting. So I had this going, and then I think if I do, browsers obviously handle this a little bit different. So they'll rename them before they drop it down to the actual name, which was whatever .bin, hash.bin, MD5. Edge does the same thing, which if you caught my screen before, you probably saw the Edge version as well, which is right here. Oh, here we go. Let's do it again. The 4th time, apparently.
One more just for good luck.
Yes, there's Firefox, and then Edge will slowly appear. There it is. Edge. Nice. Yeah, it's like a GUID. So, and this is, I'm dumping everything, and so it's kind of like extremely noisy because you're getting everything that like CSC generates, and if you deploy hunt naked across a couple hundred endpoints, you're going to be hunting naked in a lot of noise. My keyboard died again.
Unfiltered noise is the best noise.
Yes.
Filtered noise just doesn't hit the same.
Right. Okay. Try this again.
What's next?
Dead cat. Okay. So Sysmon 15, that happened. Oh yeah, AMZ.
Ooh.
This is cool. This is cool.
Shout out to Zach.
Yeah, this was really neat. So where do I start? There's a bunch of blogs on this. I just so happened to pull this screenshot from the Secure Onyx blog. I think these are pretty recent as far as like them being like posted. Let me add my other machine back here. But this is really cool. I had not seen this before. Paul shared it with me this morning. this is related to async rat. This one was March 28th. This is the Sonic Wall blog. Yep, let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, enhance. If you search AMZ, this adversary or this piece of software, malware, hijacks the COM server by making the registry entry. And this COM, or this like GUID piece here, if you Google, hopefully Strontic will be our first. Yep, right here.
It was.
Yes. This is the class ID for AMZ, which makes you think. First thing I thought when I saw this was, oh, how many more things do we need to go and monitor for here? Because yeah, I had no idea that you could do this. What this malware does is it will replace to a non-existing DLL. It just basically drops a random thing in there, which right now, if you were to go look for a random I don't exist.dll, that's in your registry. If you're sweeping it or just looking for this being written, that seems to be the common like atomic indicator is I don't exist DLL. So if you Google that, you'll see a bunch of blogs and whatnot. Similar here, if you look at the Secure Onyx blog, this one, did you post it? Oh, you didn't post it yet. I'll post it. Beep. There you go. There's sound effects when you got to copy paste. There it is. And so same thing. You'll notice here, there's a couple variables within their PowerShell code, and you could dig into all this cool stuff, but I'm just going to enhance to 200. And then using the typical Graeber reflection method, right? But here is that registry key. And again, using, I think they call it out. Yep, the I don't exist DLL. So, and that will apparently disable AMZ by overriding the Microsoft Defender COM object for AMZ by pointing it to a random thing.
Now, I think what's interesting to note is that it's specifically in current users. There is another one, which when we were looking at Atomics, there was one specifically for the local machine. So there is a variance between current user and local machine.
Yep. And so as we pull up, so this is T1056001, and eventually I will find the other one. That's not it. That's not it. But yeah, it's in here. There's two.
It's around.
You search AMZ. Uh-oh.
My
keyboard died again.
AMZ.
Okay. So there's an AMZ one in here. Edit, find. This is my keyboard day. I don't know what's up. Search, find. Okay. Oh, I can't type. On-screen keyboard. Anyway, we're just going to scroll to the bottom and look at the latest one that we've added.
The newest one.
Yeah. So we just added it. Paul shared it, quickly wrote the atomic, and now for funsies, you can go and test yourself, which is, oh, I don't have a keyboard. Stand by.
Do you need me to share screen? I can share the test.
Hang on. Let's try this one more time. I don't know what's
thing like battery powered. Like, how's it?
I know it's using like those AAAs. Just kidding. There, it's back. We're back.
It's using watch batteries.
Yeah. The man. Come on. It's literally if I could just.
It wouldn't be an atomic on Friday without some weird thing not working.
What's weird is that I even have it connected to the cable, and it won't connect via cable. So it's like
unplug it from the computer. Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
All right, I need backup. You got this one?
Yeah, I can. Where's my VMs?
Hang on, we're back. Okay, we're back. What was the ET number? 1562. Okay.
.001.
Uh-oh. No, I already lost it. Okay.
I got you. Hold on.
Your turn.
All right, move.
I'll bring these slides back. Yay, we're talking about this.
It's over here.
I think it died, and I need to charge it. That's the issue.
How do I present? I don't know what I'm doing.
Here, I need a backup keyboard. That's my new trick.
Close that. Oh, sorry, it's going to be full mode. This. All right, there we go. Okay.
Enhance. Oh yeah, we got this. There you go. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, looks good. You can see it.
Yep.
Show details brief. So.
Yeah, there's like 44. I think there's 44 atomics in this one. So, yeah. Either do it by name, the GUID. Yep.
Always use your GUIDs.
So
the reason I don't use the GUID here is because when testing before it is fully merged in, you don't actually get the GUID. So if you ever see like test names, it's because there is no GUID at that point before it is actually merged in. It occurs after. And specifically pulling Mike's branch down to test. But simply all we're going to do is just write a reg key. The DLL doesn't. You could technically string a couple of these together. So you could do one to write the registry key, one to download the DLL, and then or download the DLL, write the registry key, and then call the other test for whatever the technique ID is for run DLL 32, and attempt to execute it. Like you could string 3 of these together to start to emulate more of that activity or those chains. What if we just go do it? Simply just going to go write that registry key to clean it up. You guessed it. Run our favorite cleanup command. And we could go prove this by doing like get path or get item. Wanted to prove that. But being that we're just simply writing and deleting keys, you should be good to go.
Excellent.
How do I get that?
It was a pretty easy one. But yeah, so that's a brand new atomic. And I don't know which I like. At the bottom or on the side?
I don't know.
Just try both. I call this one our terminal.
Terminal view?
Yeah.
It's going terminal.
It died again. Okay. I got to get a new keyboard. All right. Is that it? Yep. Okay. So yeah, I'll ship. I guess we could ship. If I could type, I would ship the link to that PR. Is it here? Nope. Okay. So yeah, next on the list was this week, right? This week, a new version of CrackMapExec dropped. I screen capped the new core features to this, but there's actually like a new core set of like scripts that were dropped in this release too.
Yep.
And
a ton of different good modules.
You want to run it? I will go find a keyboard.
I can run it, yeah. We'll figure out what we're doing here. So we're not going to run through all of these, but we'll dabble a little bit. This one. Okay. Kelly. So, couple interesting ones that occurred. Specifically, if you saw on the top, it was the data protection API. So there's an interesting one to dump credentials from that. Now, actually, let me full screen this so the thing stops blinking. Just look at this one. So we'll go run this. This actually imports dploot. So if you're familiar with dploot, which is a Python implementation leveraging RPC and some other things, this is how it's doing it. So we spent way too much time trying to figure out where this. It's not a module, but it's not like I don't even know what the term is. We finally found it and then realized that it's just implementing dploot. So it's just kind of wrapping it with inside of it, kind of creating that Swiss Army knife, if you will. So a lot of this is going to rely, as you can see, on SMB. a lot of cracked CME and TP-LU is based on in-packet libraries. A lot of the functionality is based on utilizing the SMB protocol. We've stressed this enough. I wrote about it in the threat detection report, which is disable your SMB ingress on those workstations and servers that don't need it. The amount of times in almost basically go look at any DFIR report or any public report, I guarantee you SMB is leveraged in lateral movement. One of the most common on top of like RDP, your WMI, etc. If they don't need it, just turn it off. You don't need some AI thing. Just go disable it. But in this case, you can see here, you now all have my password to my home lab that is on every single account to log in, SSH, RDP. You find an account, that is the password. Have fun. Good luck.
You find it, you use it.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just looting. Same thing. So I don't even need any other password like to go look or run Mimikatz because that password is the same for everything. So I've now owned the domain.
Have you ever Googled? I think I've dumped hashes once with I think it was Mimikatz, and if you Google your hash, your password hash, you find it. It's awesome. There's so many hashes out there. Yeah, copy it. Or if you had just like the hash, like the NTLM or something, like you could Google it and it's all cracked out there. It's awesome.
That's phenomenal. Well, I guess I'm going to go determine if my password is. If not, I'll submit it for you all. So that way you just have the hash as well.
Yeah.
It's good to have.
Good plan.
Sometimes you like hashes. Sometimes you like clear text. It's, you know, it's whatever you
like to pass the hash.
So there was another module. So this one is appears from what I could tell, actually an update to the module enum. Now, what's fascinating is that it's specifically targeting AV installed. And the list and compilation of what they're using is actually pretty small compared to what I think it is. So there's probably going to be some updates so people can go contribute. So if you find the enum AV Python module, you can see I think there's like 5 or 6. But it's interesting because, again, leveraging RPC to make these requests so that it doesn't leave anything on disk or you're not really executing too much. One of the things I was trying to focus on this week was leveraging EDR. How can we detect some more of these more recon-based commands that don't necessarily execute or drop something on disk, but are going to do more of this collection or reconnaissance enumeration type of activity? And it's really difficult, especially being things like an in-packet or these types of tools where, again, you're not dropping something and it's more network-based. There's inherent gaps. There's one EDR that comes close to being able to leverage RPC to collect some of this information, but the event that is collected is not inherently a smoking gun. So there are some other things that would have to be coupled with it in order to detect it, but a lot of this does go undetected based on EDR. Now, there are some things that occur in like the DP API in which, based on how it executes, some of that actually does leave artifacts on disk because it does things like trying to dump the registry hives. So it's kind of interesting. What was the other one I was asking a question on? It said it was OPSEC safe, but it actually wasn't.
Yeah. I remember the NTDS util one
that's right.
you shared.
Let's
that
go
was
look
pretty...
at that one. So if you go read the Python scripts for these, some of them will have a tag that basically says, is this OPSEC safe? If you go look at the template or the model for these modules in CME repository, they go and they tell you like it's OPSEC safe if it doesn't write or drop anything to disk. But in this case, it does because it's using command to execute PowerShell to then call NTTS util to write out the nts.dit file. So it is actually not OPSEC safe. It does stand out like a clown at a funeral, as the kids say. So it is extremely noisy in that aspect. So nothing super like inherent. Like if you have basic EDR will flag on the NTDS util being executed. What other ones do we look at? I don't have that slide of different ones. There's also 3 additions for global managed service accounts, GMSA. So there's 3 different methods to execute those. Dumping local teams as well as Veeam, a couple other ones for potential password extraction. Don't have a Veeam server running, so I couldn't test that one. Same with Teams, but those there. I can see like the reason it's not is it's calling PowerShell and it's going to write this, and it will randomize it on the disk, and then it will retrieve it back and it will extract out. So write it, pull it back, save it, and then start to parse out the information. But
that one was, if I remember, that was the like it runs it through PowerShell, right? The NTDS.
Yeah. So looks like service host. So RPCS service, and then calls CMD to call PowerShell, which then calls NTDS util. I think I sent you that screenshot.
Yeah.
Of the explicit path. Or
random. Just Google
lineage.
Google one of your hashes there. Even if it's like the far right one, the short one. Anyway. Not an important task, but important.
It is important. I got to make sure you all have the hash. If you don't have it, it's going to be submitted.
Should tweet it.
I'm going to give you all CTF today. Crack this hash. All right, where am I looking?
I don't know. Honestly, it's just the fact that if you Googled it, all that came up. It's just amazing.
Top tier. Well, I'll give you all I'll tweet you all the hash later, and you can all just go crack it.
Yeah, make it rain.
Make it rain hashes. Or some other ones on there. I don't recall. But let's get started.
You should read the hash out loud. Just be like 2700
A3B435B51404EEAAD. Anywho.
Yeah.
That at least gives you a partial hash.
Somebody got that. We're good. It'll be cracked by the end of the show.
Now, and the one thing that I've been thinking about, especially not necessarily just targeting CME, but is when you have these tools like the InPacket Suite where you can leverage a lot of direct RPC calls, a lot of that activity is over the wire, and a lot of it you don't see on disk. And one of the things that I think EDR and in general from a detection standpoint is more of those enumeration and reconnaissance commands. Yes, they can be noisy, and yes, they produce, but some of those are dead giveaways for identification of potential activity. If we're only relying on execution or things touching disk, we lose a lot of insight and potential for that, right? Like everything counts from a defender standpoint. You need those opportunities. So figuring out mechanisms, whether it's event logs on the wire, whether it's within EDR, like no matter how abstract it is, like anything that gives us an advantage to detect, hunt, and then respond to gives us that capability. And so in seeing these RPC things, like it just shows that RPC is still prime target for detection. And there's a lot of great resources. The Akamai team does a ton of RPC stuff. You have things from like James Forshaw, Google Project Zero. So Johnny Johnson does a massive amount with RPC, and a lot of people that I'm drawing a blank on, but we're getting there, but there's still a lot of work to be done, especially with potential capabilities from that. So I don't know, something that I've been digging into more is like, how can we leverage it? What are the different data sources? How can we identify this? Especially, again, some of those things where you're not going to touch disk, but it's, again, extracting out, pulling in even just information like this is imperative for a defender to try and to alert on.
Yep. Yeah, even just like digging through the source code of a tool like this that's being published. I also like to dig through just like GitHub in general. You might find like other forks of this one where someone actually put back into their fork, and you might find something new in there. But yeah, GitHub is like an awesome resource to go and hunt and find more random things.
GitHub is lit. Oh, was it there? Yeah, so those are the core features, and then there were new modules, again, which we touched on, which are things like Veeam, MSOL, SQL, yes. Local teams dump, and some other ones that unfortunately didn't have opportunity. But I haven't found anything over the network. If you have Zeek, you can see some of those RPC calls, and if you can string a couple of them together, looking at the flow, LSA R or something, opnum 77, 44, and 26 are going to be the sequence for enumerating AV, are the ones that I saw when testing so far.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are the new modules. Yep.
Yeah, so RDC Man is going to leverage the DP API functionality from DP, same with the Firefox passwords. So those two and the DP API are leveraging DP.
Oops.
Whoa. Deploy. DP Lite. DP Loop. DP Loop.
By.
Data protection loop.
Oh, I opened up the magnifier.
You hit the right thing. Sage. Yeah.
Let's close that. Sorry.
Print nightmare. I don't even want to think about that anymore. Just go patch your stuff. Disable. Just turn off printers.
It's a nightmare.
Get rid of them. You don't need them. Printers were a mistake.
Yes. Yep. Cool.
A lot of good stuff.
Yes. Yeah. What's next?
Oh.
Demo time. Okay.
QUIC. Lego.
I think we missed something actually.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. We missed the Azure AD.
Oh yeah, that was you.
AADInternals. I forgot the blog, but I shared it to you. But this is like obviously a super cool admin utility turned into adversary utility, and it just had a new release on the 29th, which was yesterday, I think. But this yesterday thing here is what's really neat is there was some new stuff. The one that caught my eye was let's see, dumping NT hashes from Azure AD, but it got me thinking about this tool in general and all of like these different functions and things that you can do with it. Amazing. I don't have this ready for a demo. I don't have an Azure environment to like kick this off in and play with. So check this thing out. The reports that I was looking at, and I think I shared with you, Paul.
I found it.
Oh, ship it.
Microsoft.
Yes. There it is. So yeah, like
Mercury.
Yeah. This one. I remember this. I was like, why? I had this tab open. I'm like, I don't remember why I had this open. I was like, delete. But yeah, this in particular, outside of everything else that is on this blog, I'll show it here. There we go. Outside of everything in the blog, this stood out. And then I saw the tweet that there was an update, which I would show you the tweet, but we got denied. That's why you have a screenshot. What's up? Even opens in Paint. I love it. So yeah, the screenshot of the tweet, because Twitter's, yeah. But there's all these cool new things, and I was like, this is really neat. There's a lot of neat new features. And then then I saw it in this blog, and I was like, wow, that is definitely a tool that, you know, this threat actor was then using Azure AD internals to extract plain text creds of a privileged AD account. So yeah, this is one of those things I was just like, yeah, one thought that I had outside of like all your typical Azure monitoring was, I wonder if there's a way to inventory people importing like this in PowerShell. And I haven't dug into that, but I was like, that would be kind of neat. And you should typically only ever see this, hopefully, on like an admin system doing any kind of Azure type stuff. But
I mean, the accounting team shouldn't be importing PowerShell modules to connect up to Azure resources.
Or marketing, maybe. Like marketing needs to, you know, update the website.
Upload those files.
Yeah. Yep.
Via PowerShell.
Yeah.
Just give them one SCP.
Yes. I mean, everybody else does it. SSH tunnel, you know, just go have fun. But yeah, this whole set of tools, like definitely something I need to dig into because there's a lot here. I think almost this whole blog is like on it. It's in here 8 times. But yeah, so definitely check that out. Next on the slides is a small little blip about SMB over QUIC. What does that mean? Recently, Microsoft came out with this thing called SMB over QUIC. And it goes back, I think, about a year-ish ago with Windows 11. And the idea is that this new protocol, QUIC, you can use it to like blast through your firewall, almost like a reverse proxy. Think of like ngrok. The idea is that you can map a drive, and so like you're at home or you're on the road at a customer site or something, and it'll just map a drive back over the internet to your public-facing server 2022 box running on Azure, that file server you're running, and it makes this secure tunnel. I put air quotes, I don't know why, but it is actually pretty decently secure using TLS 1.3 and all this stuff. It just blasts back. It requires a couple things. And like you mentioned to me earlier, Paul, like you need Windows 11. Yep, you need Windows 11. You're not able to install this on your standard server 2022. I dug into that for a while and it got kind of annoying. So I had to spin it up on Azure directly, which whatever. And so then you're able to, you got to set it all up. The funny thing about the setup is it requires this tool called Windows Admin Center. I was laughing earlier because it's called WAC. Just going to use, I was like, okay, who comes up with this? Open up the WAC, you know? Like,
that is top tier.
Then obviously you need PKI. I think you might be able to get away with a local certificate setup, which I kind of set that up. Anyway, I'll show it. So once you install WAC, you got to download it. This actually seems like a pretty cool like utility. There's a bunch of features built in where like you can like dig into like if you have like 100 servers. I suspect that's what this is about. Like I have 100 servers, you install WAC on them, and you can like centrally manage all of your systems via WAC. I'm just trying to find more ways to say WAC at this point because it sounds cool. But you're able to like see via WAC, you know, your system performance and things like that. I feel like I'm selling this thing at this point, right?
Can you tell if your system's out of whack via WAC?
Probably. You'll find out quickly if the performance is out of whack. So it could get pretty wacky in whack. So when you're inside whack, you have all these features and you can go like click through here and like configure your firewall stuff. Like it's kind of cool, right? Like I wish you had like this is like a manage engine replacement in a way. Like don't want to call out manage engine. Don't mean to be calling out names, but this is pretty whack. But you can come in here and configure like your files sharing and things like that. So idea
I could disable SMB via WAC.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Phenomenal.
So yeah, go to settings, go to the file share setting for SMB here. And you can modify this across your whole fleet via WAC. You just have to install WAC. I assume within WAC, you have to set up credentials, hopefully at least privilege model with WAC. So it's not like running system
and
all that.
Use WAC to deploy WAC to other systems that don't have WAC?
So I don't know if it's a deployment type of deployment thing. It's not a deployment tool.
Could they build in
PDQ deploy?
So I just need to use PS
well, maybe I'm
SRV
wrong.
to then push out the installer to install WAC in order to communicate back to WAC.
So apparently you can run PowerShell in the browser with WAC.
So in theory, I could via WAC.
Okay.
Yeah, you could. If you got PS exec installed and all your servers got that SMB wide open, like I know 99% of them do, via WAC, PowerShell in the browser, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is lit.
Yeah. So what you want to find, and probably no one's talking about right now, is a public WAC server sitting out there.
Fingerprint. Let's go.
Being compromised with the ability to come in here and use PowerShell remoting and modify everything you want to modify. So this has turned into, this is like EDR. I'm EDRing, right? Like, here we go.
And, well, so when you went into PowerShell, what was your default permission? Is that medium integrity or high integrity? And I presume it's also based on the user you're logged in as.
Yeah, I'm logged in as an admin account, so you're getting my admin perms. That's what it looked like.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Look at that. This sounds almost like EDR without the telemetry collection.
Yeah.
This is great.
Import some PowerShell scripts.
Think about your EDRs that allow you to use Python and PowerShell interpreters via a live response session. Are any of them allowing you just to import, I don't know, invoke Mimikatz, for example, and allowing you to just rip that via a live response session? Don't know. Maybe. Couldn't tell you. But it's possible.
Yep. This is pretty whack. So yeah,
all of that SMB disabled and not audited or
I know by default there's no auditing or signing or encryption.
Look, so it's all overrated.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like fax. It's probably more secure than email at this point.
At least you know who you're sending it to, maybe. Oh man!
I still can't believe we thought it was a good idea to start faxing social security numbers over the telco line, and hope I typed that phone number incorrectly.
Yeah, I know. It's like wire transfer, but worse, right? Yeah.
Because you find out that legal teams actually now leverage fax over VoIP.
Oh man, that's horrible. But I believe
it's top tier. It's great.
All right.
Moving on.
Back in WAC. Where we were here talking about SMB over QUIC, you on the Azure 2022 server, you have to come into settings at file shares. You need to enable it down here under SMB, which is obviously like not happy with anything. You have to click edit. And again, you probably need like true PKI. I just like clicked a bunch of buttons. I have no idea what I'm doing. Disable Kerberos support because like I need this to work. I got a VP, trying to VPN into his file share across the internet, and got to get this done. So WAC is my certificate name, and let's see if we can enable it. It throws errors, I think. And there's probably zero auditing on this. Is it enabled?
No, you disabled it all.
Enable. Oh. Let's refresh WAC.
Pretty quick, too.
Yeah, it's snappy, right? Like, we need to find this on the internet somewhere.
I'm thinking impact it over QUIC.
Oh, it's on a healthy. Okay.
It's fine. Does it need to be? Are any of us really healthy?
Yeah. So, you mentioned impact it over QUIC. This took me down the line of finding this cool trusted sec blog from Adam Chester back in 2022, where he called out, there's this new SMB over QUIC. And so I was like, hey, this is cool. But he goes into a little bit more details about how this actually works using SMB and all this cool crypto TLS type stuff, etc. But he took it to the next level. Let's implement it in, I think he put it into NTLM Relay X. And I think there's a cool screenshot. Let me zoom, enhance. Here we go. At least my keyboard works, right? There's this little robot over here. Goodbye. Oh, wait. Oh, what can I help you with? I have a question. Sorry, don't mean to just Okay. Don't be distracted by the robot. Oh, yeah. Tell I said hi. Okay.
No, you're at the wrong one.
He's at binary defense.
Well, you could have told Justin hi.
That's true. Let's go back. Sorry. There we go. Whoever's watching, there's one person on Twitch. Doesn't look like an email address. No, I just want to say hi to Justin.
Somebody's gonna get the logs of this chat.
Well.
Bye.
Okay. So back to QUIC. Yeah, so sets it up, runs it, all this kind of stuff. So I think kind of like the novel to the story, as an adversary, how would you use this? The biggest things that I was thinking an adversary would use this would be to exfiltrate. Adam took the route of, credentials, which I think is kind of like another way of handling this. I was thinking more of like an adversary gets on the box and blows through the firewall using QUIC over SMB over QUIC, and begins to exfiltrate data.
Oh, could you imagine on a file server just rip through 443? Because the idea is that it doesn't use 445. It's going to go over your HTTPS tunnel.
And actually, it's better than that. It uses UDP 443.
Oh,
yeah. Catch that. I'm actually curious, now that I think about it from like EDR, UDP 44. I feel like that's one of those ones that gets rolled up to like, or not even see it, right? Like I just don't think this would be something that would be truly seen.
All blanket statement, because I haven't seen it in the experience with working with multiple EDR products, is that network from a data, how much data left is not the tool you need or going to use. So if you're looking for exfil, like specifically thinking about exfil or different mechanisms, like what was or how much, nobody collects good telemetry at this point, from my perspective, to effectively answer that. Now, things like firewalls, proxies, host-based, like think of like your Zscalers or other tools where you have like a host-based agent for network traffic. Those are going to be your best bets, especially looking for, again, large quantities, single destination. You got a baseline. That's probably the best case of, especially the UDP. Like TCP connections, EDR, XDR, whatever. Does decent in some new stuff. UDP though, it's hit and miss. Some of it's like, yeah, we'll collect it. Some of it's like, nah, we don't. Or, so this is going to be one of those ones that as it takes on more orgs upgrade to 11 or have data center. Now, thankfully, again, at this point, it's specific to Windows 2022 Azure Server Edition. Yeah, that does help. So I think the adoption level is probably lower than just saying, oh, it's on 2019 now. Like, yeah, makes it a lot more.
The other thing that I found is, what was I going to say? You can't use Windows 11 SMB over QUIC to connect to a Linux server running SMB over QUIC. So there's no compatibility between Windows and Linux on this piece. It's only Win 11 and Server 22 Azure Edition. That's it. So yeah, there's a little bit of like restriction there. The only thing I can think of is so there's two new commands that an adversary could run to connect to their hosted or a already secondary compromised Azure 2022 QUIC server, file server that they control. There's these two things. You can run netuse transport via QUIC. Awesome. And then there's also a PowerShell one called new SMB mapping transport via QUIC, the type. Mike, so the other thing I had a question on was, well, if it's an adversary controlled server, I may not trust that certificate. So there's actually a way to skip the certificate enforcement or the check. So I wrote 2 atomic tests for this. I can't enhance on this, but I'll try to maybe do view, zoom. There you go. You can enhance. Zoom it. Let's do it again. Zoom in. All right. So hopefully you can see that. 2 tests, one through new SMB mapping and then the other via NetUse. Both you can skip the certificate check. Now, I'm not going to release these atomic tests because it requires 2 completely complex pieces in order to truly work. Even if you just run it, you can get the commands, I guess. Maybe I'll ship it then. What do you think, Paul? Thoughts?
Ship it.
All right.
There's orgs out there using it. Why not?
I mean, yeah.
The other thing is that it potentially shines more light on the potential of people digging into this and looking for different mechanisms for abuse, but also detection, analytics, etc.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, we'll ship it. Yeah, so both of them will copy a file over the tunnel if it does actually connect. So again, my idea was let's use this for exfiltration, which would be amazing over UDP.
I'm thinking if I'm on-prem and my file server is in cloud, or I have a hybrid workforce, so to use at home, Windows 11, file servers, Azure, thinking what's my lateral movement potential to go from this endpoint to potentially that server, and then from there, I'm potentially in the cloud environment where I could do potentially more things. So like there's tons of different potential for this. Be interesting to see how this plays out as, again, more things get adopted. This becomes more utilized. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't take off. Who knows? One could hope.
Yes.
We haven't solved SMB.
Can hope.
We haven't solved SMB in general yet. Why do we need more SMB headaches?
Yep.
Now with more problems and less detection.
Yes. But yeah. I hope I covered this decently. I'm just gonna close some things, but nope. But yeah. So there's that, man. I think that's really some pretty cool stuff. I will ship the atomics here in just a minute. Oh yeah. Oh, I have a demo. I mean, I could demo it. It doesn't do much other than fail. It's because nothing works. Yeah. Even if you skip, well, that looks like. There you go.
That's fine.
It's the same thing, obviously. It's just a jankier PowerShell version looking. And then if you want to run it, ship it. I think the caveat, if you do have Azure 2022 edition, etc., Windows 11, and you're going to test this, my only thing would be just do a prompt for input arguments on your invoke so that you can actually modify like what file you want to send, evil.txt, and then like where's it going to go, like, you know, Bob's atomic testing, atomic life for me. There you go. Oh, again. Anyway.
So fast.
So yeah. It moves quick.
That's whack.
Yes. That was whack. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. There was a lot in there. I guess to recap, we talked about async rat disabling AMZ via an interesting, via interesting com class ID registry hijack with a non-existent DLL.
APTs that aren't real.
APTs. Yes, that leverage EDR
RAM
products.
capture and volatility to dump memory and steal creds.
Which
we touched on.
Amazing.
CME updates. Azure AAD, or the new AAD internals.
Yep.
Which then led us down the SMB via QUIC to Azure.
Yes.
And now here we are. The end of the road. Holiday weekend. What vuln will drop today?
Yeah, question of the day. What's going to drop?
I did ask that. Somebody did comment IBM or something else.
Ooh.
What was it? What was the... It's hot garbage right now. Doesn't load. IBM or Oracle. Which...
Oh, wow. All right. Okay.
Honestly, it's been a minute since we've had a good Oracle. Maybe a Java. Java would be nice. Like something for TVs. Something that doesn't have any logs.
TVs. Yeah. Let's see. Searching the Twitters for anybody talking about anything that may relate. What? I don't know what that is. Oh, that's a new driver.
New drivers? I love drivers.
Yeah. Ransomware that appears to be using a Windows 0-day since February 2022. It is in the common log file system driver since June. Well, that's exciting. There's a new LOL driver ad. Cool. Ship it.
Let go.
Cool. Right. Well, covered a lot. So
enjoy.
I'll ship a tweet, share news.
We'll recap it.
Yeah.
Catch y'all next time.
Have a great Friday and holiday.
Enjoy the holiday.
See yas.